Peace.
Peace.
Welcome to the campaign trail live Thursday, December 19th. News, views, opinions, guests, little managers. Y'all see the title. You know, we ain't doing a whole lot of thumbnails right now. We just doing it. I don't even know what these shows gonna be about until I hit my social media earlier in the day. And shouts out to who would I get this idea from? My homie Craig Facts that be with Corey Holcomb. I saw a little post that he did that hit my timeline, and he was speaking about him doing some research about Minister Farrakhan and Gaddafi and how the United States government, the federal government, denied Minister Farrakhan an initial $1 billion gift of support from our brother, General Muammar Gaddafi. May Allah be pleased with him. And we're going to go into this story because you know we all about receipts, proof, data, evidence, facts. And, you know, this is specifically for those of us. This is how I have to retaliate and clap back at my own people for the last, 4 or 5 years, but especially the last 200 days when they was pushing this whole Democrat Republican voting thing, like black people are supposed to trust and love Democrats, and that's the party for black people and all of that. So I wanted to just give some cold-blooded receipts about your party and about this just political system, period, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, but especially Democrats, because that's what our people is deceived in, just like we deceived in Christianity and certain religious indoctrinations or whatever. So that's what this is about. You see the title, UFOs, the U.S. government, Gaddafi, the Clintons, Obama, Biden, and Harris, and black descendants of slaves. I intentionally didn't put Farrakhan in there because that is probably the highest trigger algorithm, censor, cancel culture word that you could ever put in your title on YouTube. So it don't mean that, of course, that's my leader and that's my savior and who I love. Big Cecil, thank you, Big Cecil Parker. I got your cash app, man. You started off strong, and pardon me because I ain't even looking at the comments yet, but because I had to get this little intro out first. And that's the only reason why I didn't put Minister Farrakhan's name in the title, because, these algorithms and this new AI intelligence, as soon as they see that in the title,
they're going to immediately hate on
it. Yeah, they're going to immediately do worse than they already doing. So, but we're going to talk all the way about it. That's why I put it in the thumbnail, but I didn't put it in the actual title that I'm typing, because this is a receipt. This is a matter of just historic, educational purpose, public record, educational purposes or whatever. So this is from the Los Angeles Times. Let me get this bigger. Man, where did it go? There I go. The Los Angeles Times, August 26, 1996. This was a few months almost a year after the Million Man March, the success of the Million Man March in October 16th, 1995. So this is the very next year, a few months later, August 29th, 1996. And this is Farrakhan is denied $1 billion from Libya, from Muammar Gaddafi. And this is from the LA Times. And if you go do your own research and pull up just a title close to that, you're going to see all kind of, Associated Press, Reuters, and all of headlines of that time that's verifying this. But, we forget We got short attention span, ADHDs or whatever, so we quick to forget and fall right back in love with our enemies and start repping them like we represent that political party or these political candidates. But this says Washington, the federal government denied Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan permission Wednesday to accept a promised $1 billion gift from Libya. It's not from Libya, it's from Muammar Gaddafi to help who? To help African Americans economically and politically. And we're going to get into that, after I read all the way through this. Accused of supporting global terrorism, Libya for years has been under the U.S. sanctions that bar most financial transactions between the two countries and limit travel. Farrakhan had applied last week to the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, asking that he be granted an exemption from the sanctions to permit acceptance of the $1 billion pledge by Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi during a visit Farrakhan made to Libya earlier that year in January. The Treasury Department of the United States government denied that request in a message to Farrakhan's lawyers in Chicago, asserting the continuing need of the United States to enforce its policy of isolating Libya. Isolate Libya. Isolate Libya. The government denial came just a day after Farrakhan said if the exemptions were not approved by the federal government, then he said, quote, "I will go across the nation stirring up not only my people, but all those who would benefit from it," unquote. Farrakhan was en route to Libya, where he is scheduled. Farrakhan was en route to Libya, where he is scheduled to receive a $250,000 humanitarian award from Gaddafi on Saturday. That gift, too, was barred by the U.S. government decision. Let me scroll a little bit. At a news conference in Chicago before his departure, Farrakhan said the U.S. government has left poor Americans in the lurch with a new welfare law, and said he wanted to use the Libyan gift of $1 billion to help blacks and the poor. So Muammar Gaddafi and Farrakhan is letting you know this was not for the Nation of Islam. This is for the blacks, descendants of slaves of America, the black community, period. That nobody else wants to give reparations to, right? And we know how to send billions and billions of dollars every year to Israel and Ukraine and everywhere else. But not only will they, America not give that to us, but they're not going to allow nobody else to give it to us, especially not our black brother from Africa, our own brother. We're supposed to be African Americans, but we barred from receiving any help from our African brother because he's allegedly a terrorist, when, according to the records of the United States government, all these rebel groups and, everybody from Al Qaeda or so-called ISIS and so-called rebel fighters, America is on record as funding them. They fund the terrorists that they want, when it benefits them, when it's convenient for them. But they don't allow so-called terrorists to fund us. Okay. So it says, quote unquote, "We are not terrorists," talking about the Nation of Islam and black people of America, descendants of slaves that you owe reparations to, 400 years worth. "We not terrorists," Farrakhan said, "and we're not trying to do anything against the good of America. What we want to do is good for our own people and ultimately the good of our nation." At the State Department, however, spokesman Glenn Davies said before Wednesday's announcement that, quote, "Obviously Gaddafi has an interest in gaining a foothold here in the United States in some fashion. And of course, that kind of talk is not something that we view positively at all," end quote. Right? And then we got, that was then, and I ain't gonna play that yet because I do want to go to the comments before I get into this, but I want to kind of like give a chronological order. That was 1996, and from 1996, and actually that was when who was this? Bill Clinton, Hillary's husband, was the president at this time, and Al Gore was the vice president. Bill Clinton was the president. You know, your first black president with the saxophone that you thought was black and so cool, the Democrat that black people fell in love with. He was the first black president before Obama was ever president, right? He was president, and he's the president that was behind denying Libya from helping us. And it wasn't just, he didn't just pledge $1 billion. That was just the initial good faith pledge that he was trying to put up right away. He pledged the whole entire wealth of Libya, which is trillions and trillions of dollars. And you saw he was already the head of the African Union and starting his own currency, or for us, called the gold dinar, that would have freed us from the US dollar and not relying on US petrodollars and none of that. So this was Gaddafi. Gaddafi was the head of all of this, and Farrakhan was his lead deputy. He was his lead spokesperson because of this thing right here that happened back in 1985, 10 years prior. And we're gonna play a few of these clips and all of that just to give you a historical, chronological list of receipts. You know what I'm saying? But that happened with Clinton in denying the $1 billion initially back in 1996, and then fast forward to 2011. Well, let me go. I'm gonna go to the comments and shout some people out because I'm not gonna play that yet. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this first. Salute cousin Pookie on the couch first in the chat. Salute AO, walaikum salam, brother C, peace. Ahmad Jabril, salute. Fire Fist, salute. Mr. Brooks or MR Brooks, salute to you. Safi Ali. Andre Christian, what's up with it? George Allen, salute. Walaikum salam. Having trouble connecting. Uh-oh. Something is going on. Uh-oh. They trying to.
Wow. They just started.
Wow. Ain't see how they do it. Let me see. Put this back on here. Okay. Hey, Big Adrian Martinez, peace. Got that chat sweeper. Salute. Yeah, man. I gotta give you that Uzi. I gotta give you that. Right. That stick with that extended clip. Jerome D, salute. How much? Oh man, we're gonna talk about that in a minute, Jerome. Yeah, I just wanted to go over here, and check in with y'all. So we're gonna play that. Keep that in mind, what we just read. And I put it on the screen, just basically that Farrakhan denied $1 billion, and that's from 1996. And then we're gonna go here.
As we reached the top of the mountain, a wheel, or what you call an unidentified flying object, appeared at the side of the mountain, and I was called from the wheel to come up into the wheel. 3 metal legs appeared from the wheel, giving me the impression that it was going to land, but it never came over the mountain. Being somewhat afraid, I called to the members of my party to come with me, but a voice from the wheel spoke saying, "Not them, just you." I was told to relax, and a beam of light came from the wheel, and I was carried up on this beam of light into the wheel. I sat next to the pilot. However, I could not see him. I could only feel his presence. As the wheel lifted off from the side of the mountain, moving at a terrific speed, I knew I was being transported to the mother wheel or the mother plane, which is a human-built planet a half a mile by a half a mile, which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us of for over 60 years. The pilot, knowing that I was fearful of seeing this great mechanical object in the sky, maneuvered his craft in such a way that I would not see the mother plane, and then backed quickly into it and docked in a tunnel. I was escorted by the pilot to a door and admitted into a room. I shall not bother you with a description of the room, but suffice it to say that at the center of the ceiling was a speaker, and through this speaker I heard the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaking to me as clearly as you hear my voice this morning.
So he's saying that, y'all that heard this know what he's talking about. This is 1985. This is 10 years after he and the world and the nation thought that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had physically died in 1975. So 1975 was the physical departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And this experience right here of being brought up on this wheel that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, that Master Fard Muhammad right here pictured, was the scientist and builder and engineer of. In 1985, he's saying that he was brought up on that wheel and communicated audibly. He didn't see him visually, but audibly heard him, receiving instructions and directions and revelations from Elijah Muhammad 10 years after he departed.
He spoke in short, cryptic sentences, and as he spoke, a scroll full of cursive writing rolled down in front of my eyes, but it was a projection of what was being written in my mind. As I attempted to read the cursive writing, which was in English, the scroll disappeared and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad began to speak to me again. He said, and I quote,
"Listen,
President Reagan has met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan a war. I want you to hold a press conference in Washington, D.C., and announce their plan and say to the world that you got the information from me on the wheel."
So you hear that. So that's of course reputation breaking. That's so crazy sounding, right? This story or this so-called information, if you're supposed to be any type of a leader or a luminary or a religious person or whatever that wants respect, you know what I'm saying, that wants to be looked at as sane, and this is putting your whole reputation, career, sanity, all of that on the line. All the work, anything that you ever suffered to build for 20, 30 years or whatever up until that point, you risking it all saying this type of preposterous craziness sounding story. That first of that Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not physically dead, and second of all, I heard from him 10 years later on a big UFO. And he told me this specific information. Now, you either 1,000% crazy or you 1,000% correct, and that's really God business. That's really God and his messenger or his Messiah. Is either one or the other. There ain't even no room for no middle of the road. It ain't even no gray area.
End quote. He said to me that he would not permit me to see him at that time, but he said that I had one more thing to do, and when that one more thing was done, I could come again to the wheel and I would be permitted to see him face to face. He then dismissed me and I entered the small wheel and the pilot, whom I still could not see, moved the craft out of the tunnel and took it up to a terrific height and maneuvered his craft that I might look down upon the mother wheel. And I saw a city in the sky. With great speed, it brought me back to earth and dropped me off near Washington, where I then proceeded into this city to make the announcement. After I awakened from the vision, it seemed to vanish from my mind. However, on the morning of September the 19th, 1985, a great earthquake struck Mexico City, and it was felt as far away as Tepoztlan, the little town where I was staying.
Now, here's another thing to keep in mind. This experience happened September 17th. September 17th is when he got called up on this wheel, this big UFO, and heard directly from Elijah Muhammad, but he forgot about it for 2 days. And what brought it back to his mind is on September the 19th, 1985 in Mexico. And that is a critical city and people that's our family and that's our allies that have, super significance with this UFO subject and with us. September 17th and September 19th. Keep that in mind.
The earthquake brought the vision forcibly to my mind, and I spoke it later that morning for the first time to my wife, Khadija Muhammad, and to Sister Taineta Muhammad in the city of Cuernavaca in Morelos, Mexico. During the vision of 1985, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not tell me who the war was planned against or where the war would take place.
Listen.
But as events began to unfold from September to December of 1985 into January of 1986, it began to dawn on me slowly that war might be against Muammar Gaddafi and the Libyan Jamahiriya, but I was not completely sure. In early February 1986, I was invited to participate in and be the spokesman at a press conference initiated by the Libyans in cooperation with Kwame Ture of the All-African People's Revolutionary Party and the representatives of approximately 15 groups of blacks, Native Americans, Hispanics, and whites, in essence, to say to the government of America, hands off Libya. While I was speaking at that press conference, the lights of the television cameras in the back of the room brought back the vision of the press conference that I was to hold in Washington, D.C., and I wondered to myself, could this be it?
Keep in mind, the vision and the instructions came in 1985, right? It wasn't until 10 or 11 years later, after the Million Man March. So 10 years later from 1985 is 1995, which was the Million Man March. So 75, looks like Elijah Muhammad is dead. 85, you hear from Elijah Muhammad on this big UFO, and he gives you specific information about the president and the Joint Chiefs of Staff planning a war against Gaddafi. And then 95 is the Million Man March. And right after that is when Gaddafi pledges to Farrakhan the entire wealth of Libya, all the resources, all the wealth of Libya. The $1 billion was just a investment, a good faith show that I'm serious. So it wasn't no $1 billion. It was trillions of dollars. It was the whole wealth of Libya.
In February 1986, I embarked on a world tour. And while I was in Ghana, in West Africa, it crystallized for me that the war that President Reagan and the Joint Chiefs of Staff had planned was, in fact, against Muammar Gaddafi and the people of Libya. So I decided to alter my planned itinerary to go to Libya and to warn Muammar Gaddafi. I arrived in Libya, and practically every member of the Libyan government met me in my suite, with the exception of Muammar Gaddafi and his second in command, Jaloud. I spoke to them, and they went speedily away from my room. I expect they went to see Muammar Gaddafi. But from Tripoli, speaking before the representatives of approximately 80 nations, I repeated this vision publicly.
Keep in mind, we clowning him. His own people here calling him crazy, Jim Jones, coat, nut, robot, whatever. But he's repeating this to heads of states and presidents of the Muslim world and the African presidents of the world. So 80 nations. He's repeating this to 80 nations in the Muslim world, the African and Muslim world, because that's who the war is being planned against. But us ninjas, you know, calling them crazy.
Sending back to the United States a warning to President Reagan and then Secretary of State George Shultz. During the confrontation in the Gulf of Sidra between the United States Air Force and the Libyan Air Force, it was reported in the press that a bright orange object was seen over the Mediterranean. The wheel was in fact present, and it interfered with the highly sensitive electronic equipment of the aircraft carrier that was in the Gulf of Sidra, forcing it to return to Florida for repairs. In 1987, 2 years later, in the New York Times Sunday magazine, and on the front page of the Atlanta Constitution, the truth of my vision was verified, for the headlines of the Atlanta Constitution read, President Reagan planned a war against Libya. In the article which followed, the exact words that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke to me from the wheel were found, that the President had met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff and planned a war against Libya in the early part of September 1985. I did not realize at that time, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that I had one more thing to do, that one more thing involved having the actual press conference that I'm holding today and making the actual announcement that I am now fully in the knowledge and understanding of.
So just breaking it up a little bit for fair usage reasons, and to open up the chat, because I'm live and I'm watching y'all's comments. If y'all got any questions about what y'all hearing, put it in the chat, because I'm gonna deal with each and every question to the best of my ability. But this is to lay the receipts about what this was really about. You know, I put up the 1996 Los Angeles Times and all the other papers reported about how the United States government under Bill Clinton denied Black people from receiving the first $1 billion, but any help, which was the pledge was the entire wealth of Libya. Make a long story short, everybody's talking about, you know, why you didn't just go to, you know, stay over there, or how you gonna just, you know, what they call it, keep it, why you didn't keep it under, like, you know, make it seem like you could just move money around and whatever, and the people and the devil ain't gonna be able to see it or know it. Just pure foolishness. And if he wanted to be like, I don't know if y'all know about the World Friendships tour tours that Minister Farrakhan has went on ever since 1995, right after the Million Man March. He got citizenship everywhere. I would say, I don't even know one African nation or Muslim nation that don't see him as their ruler or their king or their president. So in the Bible, where it talk about Moses and Aaron that went to Pharaoh, It's not about Moses claiming that he got the army or the military power to make Pharaoh let us go. This is about letting us go, giving us what we are owed. He can go get it. Ben could go get it for himself. He would have been living like a king. He would have been living like a god anywhere in Africa, anywhere in the Muslim world. His assignment is to get us free. But he also, just like Moses, he asked Pharaoh. He spoke to Pharaoh a gentle word and asked him, "Let my people go." And of course, he said no. He refused 9 or 10 times, and that's what the 9 and 10 plagues and curses from God that Moses called down on Pharaoh and on Egypt hit him with, until the very last one was the plague of death, according to the Bible. And it took Pharaoh's firstborn son. So it ain't no whatever flossy, slick, so-called power move ways that you think Farrakhan was supposed to get at Pharaoh or get this money from his brother. You see what they did to Gaddafi. You know what I'm saying? You see what they did. So if you don't ask those same questions about why did Moses and Aaron go about it in the way they went about it, and why God just didn't take it from Pharaoh and give it to, it's the same exact story. So kind of use your brain.
The reason that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not tell me who the President and the Joint Chiefs of Staff had planned the war against was because Muammar Gaddafi, the Muslim revolutionary leader, and the small nation of Libya was only to serve as a sign of an even more significant and consequential event which was to come several years later. I am here to announce today that President Bush has met with his Joint Chiefs of Staff under the direction of General Colin Powell.
You hear what he said? Under the direction of Colin Powell. Remember that Colin Powell, the black man, with Caribbean roots? Why did they put a black face over their powers and their militaries and their governments? Anytime they put, historically speaking, anytime that they have put a black face over their governmental powers, what happens in the name of that black face to black people in Africa or in America? That's just a question. You can answer it.
To plan a war against the black people of America, the Nation of Islam, and Louis Farrakhan, with particular emphasis on our black youth, under the guise of a war against drug sellers, drug users, gangs, and violence. All of this is going on under the heading of extremely urgent national security. The FBI, in preparation for this assault on the black community, has stepped up its campaign against strong black political leadership. The FBI is using dirty tactics under the guise of flushing out corrupt politicians to malign and besmirch the good name of many of our strong fighters for justice, threatening them with indictments or casting them into prison. With other weaker leaders, the government has already promised them wealth and nearness to the centers of power, and to be in their councils in exchange for their being silent when the actual attack comes.
So how many people that used to be pro-black or black activists or black preachers or whatever that's now rolling with politics, the political parties, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, that knows that this used to be their black hero and their black leader, but they took a deal with either side, whether it's the Republican side or the Democrat side, knowing that they was going to do harm to their own people, and especially to this man right here. But they became political career. They became politicians and start being quiet and start just getting that check and thinking that they was going to be near to Pharaoh. How many of them names can you name right now?
The FBI has been working to destroy the Nation of Islam since 1940. Right. As a young Muslim 34 years ago, I recall that agents of the FBI were constantly visiting members of the Nation of Islam, trying to frighten us and our families away from our belief in the religion of Islam and away from our desire to follow the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now it is well documented through the Senate subcommittee hearings on the counterintelligence program of the United States government under J. Edgar Hoover, and through information that we have received under the Freedom of Information Act, that the government of the United States, the Justice Department, and the FBI, in the name of fighting communism, and in the name of preventing a Messiah from rising among black people who would unite us.
You hear that? This is J. Edgar Hoover, FBI, Freedom of Information Acts, unredacted documents and files, prevent the rise of a Messiah. You know, that's a religious term. Messiah is a religious term, a Jewish term, actually, right? So this is not just political. This is consciously a spiritual understanding of a spiritual character that is actually the Messiah, right? And they're recognizing that the slaves, the descendants of slaves for 400 years is who he's a Messiah of.
And in the name of protecting the existing social and political order, use taxpayers' dollars to employ every dirty trick that was ever used in overthrowing foreign governments deemed to be the enemies of the United States, to overthrow and to undermine all black leaders and black organizations in the United States. It is well documented that the FBI, using taxpayers' dollars, conducted illegal surveillance, wiretaps, and mischievous machinations against black leadership to discredit, undermine, embarrass, and even kill those leaders who stood up to amend the condition that 310 years of chattel slavery and 100 years of free slavery produced. That which the FBI has done against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam, black leaders, and black organizations, again, is well documented. It was the FBI who planned and engineered the split between Malcolm X and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, I just hit the pause on that, and I just put somebody in timeout. Tony Dean Driscoll. You know, this ain't about feelings. Your feelings and nobody else's feelings, especially with something that you're not a part of or a member of. I'm playing the receipts. So while I'm playing the receipts, I do this on purpose. I do this to draw out people's feelings. I do this to draw out the haters and the trolls. So when you speak on your feelings and your opinions while I'm actually playing the receipts, then that shows me who I need to get rid of. So you might want to, keep that in mind. If you pick your battles better.
It was the FBI and its agents that engineered the murder of Martin Luther King Jr. It was the FBI and its agents that engineered the destruction of the Panther Party and the killing of members in the Panther Party. It was the FBI and its agents that engineered the destruction of the Nation of Islam after the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1975. It was the FBI that planned and engineered the struggle in the courts to weaken the nation from within and to deprive the Muslims of that which their hard-earned dollars had gained in property through probate court disputes. it was the FBI's plan to promote division among the ministers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad after his departure, that the Nation of Islam would never ever rise again. And now that I and those with me are working night and day to rebuild the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a means of reforming our people and transforming their lives into lives of service and usefulness to themselves and others. The same fear of the government that was seen in times past when Dr. Martin Luther King made an innocuous, simple speech saying, "I have a dream." The next day, the FBI said he was the most dangerous black man in America, not because he was actually dangerous, but because he was wielding influence over black people that white people did not want him to wield.
So, yeah, another pause. That's why, you know, like I said, the receipts speak for themselves. It's a lot more detail that I intend to go into, but those who don't have no knowledge, no experience, you know, don't know that the Nation of Islam and Malcolm X was a Muslim. That's a spiritual organization. That's a God-based, faith-based organization and nation. It wasn't a pro-black nationalist political movement whatsoever. So, you know, those people out there that's ignorant and thought and think, you know, Malcolm X would have did this and Malcolm X would have did that. That's a God choice. If he was supposed to be the one to do it, then God would have him doing it right now, right? You believe in God. If you think Malcolm was better and this and that, then you got to take that up with God, right? Because this is a nation of Islam. This is a nation of Allah, believers in Allah. It ain't what you want us to be. You know what I'm saying? You didn't teach us. You didn't raise Malcolm. You didn't raise none of us. So, you know, keep that in mind. Y'all got to be careful, because now today, if you even think the wrong thought about Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, then there's mental and spiritual and physical consequences that God gonna put on you. Just keep that in mind. You consider yourself warned.
My dear beloved brothers and sisters, the fear of the government that was seen in times past is now seen again because of Louis Farrakhan's growing popularity and influence among black people in America and throughout the world. And now members of the FBI's anti-terrorist task force and the organized crime racketeering task force have been working night and day to cripple and destroy the Nation of Islam, culminating in an attack on Louis Farrakhan with the purpose of discrediting, embarrassing, and ultimately causing my death, preferably by heightening tensions within the movement, exacerbated by government agents posing as Muslims.
You heard that? You know, if nobody, just like CLI said, if we're not mature enough to rise above our emotions and actually listen to the evidence, the proof, the receipts, the facts, the family members, the members of the Nation of Islam, everybody is pointed to the FBI. Everybody. Malcolm X's wife, daughters, lawyer, they just sued the FBI and the government for $100 million for the assassination of Malcolm X, their father. They didn't ever mention Farrakhan. They didn't ever mention the Nation of Islam as being the ones that did it. But you just heard the ministers saying agents. It's not agents of the NOI, it's agents of the FBI. You know what I'm saying? That's in the NOI. That's in the Black Panther Party. That's in every black organization. That's in your organization.
This is the aim. This is the aim of the United States government, and it is also the aim of the President of the United States, President George Bush. 2 weeks before George Bush was elected president, he made a speech before the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles detailing his support of Israel and his continued support of the Jewish community. He pledged continued funding of the Justice Department in their continuing investigation and vigorous prosecution of those whom the president called anti-Semites. And he said, quote, whether they wear brown shirts or white shirts and bow ties, whether they live in Skokie, Chicago, or Brooklyn, New York, the villain is the same, end quote. I am sure President Bush was not referring to Senator Paul Simon of Illinois, who wears bow ties and white shirts. But during the Reagan administration, the then Vice President Bush spoke out against me, identifying me by name. And now as he approached the presidency, he spoke of me by innuendo, saying that he would continue the funding of the Justice Department. He promised he would lead the fight against those whom he and certain leading members of the Jewish community determined to be anti-Semites through vigorous investigation, prosecution. And then he indirectly referred to me as the villain, quote unquote.
So this is all, you know, speaking for the Zionist people, that no other black leader in your lifetime has had the testicles or the success rate in standing up against and going to war with. And this is why I promote Candace Owens right now as much as I do, because regardless of her personal choices and her husband and, you know, whoever she used to be leaning towards, once she got bit by the dragon, she bit back, she clapped back. Not like coward, punk, sellout, weak, apologist ninjas do. You know what I'm saying? They're scared of getting destroyed or ruined or going broke or starved or sanctioned or canceled by these people. Who else have you seen besides Farrakhan that stood up and exposed these people all the way through to the point where Candace Owens or whoever, Kanye or whoever, Nick Cannon, everybody else who tried, got enough heart to even try to do it? Farrakhan. You ain't never seen nobody, just like Jesus. Before Jesus, you ain't seen nobody standing up against those people of his day, the scribes and the Pharisees and the Sadducees and, you know, those people. So look and listen instead of talking. We didn't already talk too much and put our feet in our mouth and talked ourselves into some ish that we damn near can't get out of, writing checks that we ain't gonna be able to cash. So listen, let's listen.
Evidence is now mounting that those were not empty words of the president, but those words, as in the past, have been translated into a program, a policy, and a war that has been designed to destroy the Nation of Islam and Minister Farrakhan, with a particular focus on the growing strength of black youth.
Black youth in the form of gang banging and dope slanging. This is the mid 80s. Y'all know what happened with the rock versus powder cocaine and all the guns that got dumped in the hood. All of that was to set us up for this war that was planned in the early 80s. It was planned that this is how they was going to set us up for the Slizzarder.
The vision that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave me from the wheel in 1985 is now manifested fully in that President Bush has met with his Joint Chiefs of Staff, the chairman of which is a black man, General Colin Powell, and again, they too have planned a war. Why would President Bush assign a black man to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, jumping over 30 white men who are reportedly more qualified to be chairman? Oftentimes, when a black man is elevated to a high position, it is because of a desire to use him against the legitimate aspirations of his own people, or to use him as window dressing to make the masses of black people believe that an unjust and corrupt system is now working in their behalf. with an army full of young black men and women, and an army full of Native Americans, Hispanics, and poor whites, could it be that general power will be used to justify the use of these soldiers against General Noriega and his regime in Panama, against the Medellin drug cartel in South America, and then on to Daniel Ortega and the Sandinista regime, and possibly against Cuba, against the liberation movements in Africa, and lastly, but most importantly, against the rise of black youth and black people in America? Members of the press and brothers and sisters, for the past few years, the American press has been feeding the public the image of black youth on a rampage. From the gangs called Crips and Bloods in Los Angeles, California, the Central Park incident, to the drug sellers that are operating in major cities along the East Coast, particularly in Washington, D.C., the image that the American public gets is that when it comes to gangs, violence, and drugs, that the gang leaders are black, the violence is black, the drug sellers are black, and the majority of drug users are black. Our youth are being portrayed as perpetrators of violence and are being armed with street sweepers, AK-47s, Uzis, MAC-10s, and it is being reported that these black youth are better armed than the local police. The police are saying that they have insufficient arms to combat these drug groups, and therefore they either need heavier weapons or the backup of the National Guard and federal troops. However, information has come to us that the police have great firepower available to them. Information has come to us that in Fort Hood, Texas, black men and women are training supposedly to fight in house-to-house combat to protect European citizens and European cities, while in reality they don't know it yet. They're being trained for house-to-house combat in the ghettos of North America. Brothers and sisters, information has come to us that certain areas of the country have been targeted to test these new weapons. Armored personnel carriers that can travel at speeds up to 70 miles per hour with high-caliber machine guns are being stored in the armories of the major cities and are stored in the armory right here in Washington, D.C. And the use of certain kinds of gases is being planned. This is being planned to be executed against black youth in several major cities in the country, and one of those cities is Washington, D.C. My dear, beloved brothers and sisters, much of the gang activity is fomented, manipulated, and kept alive by forces from within the white community.
We all know that. Anybody that's from Los Angeles or probably any other section where, you know, where we lived a gang lifestyle or whatever, we know what the law enforcement do. We know how they play us like video game men, you know what I'm saying, and act like, you know, they'll go put in work somewhere and act like it was one of us, or drop one of us off over there, drop one of them off over here, just so they can get a deletion started. And they know our emotionalism. As soon as a deletion happen, then we on autopilot. Then we gonna take it from there. All they gotta do is start it, kick it off, and keep their identity secret, and make the other side think it was us, or make us think it was them. And that's what they've been doing. That's how they keep the jails filled. That's how they keep the mortuaries filled. That's how they keep the hospitals filled. That's how they keep them police checks getting bigger and bigger. That's how they keep government, you know, funding and for this and for that. All at our expense, making a killing, literally, off of us.
And oftentimes by the very police themselves to justify what the government is planning against our community. I've talked with the gang leaders. And they have told me how the police will come into the community and say, the Bloods are going to riot tonight. What are you going to do? Then they'll go into the Crips community and say to the Crips, the Bloods are going to riot on you tonight. What are you going to do? Police have actually picked up Crips and dropped them off in the neighborhood of the Bloods and say, when I leave and turn my back, you can do to them whatsoever you please. These are police fomenting more and more bloodshed so that every night on the news, this media can show black youth with their arms behind their back, kneeling down, so that the white American public can see black youth as the enemy, so that when the government moves on black people, Americans will applaud and say, you did a good job. All of this has been planned and is now being carried out under the pretext of national security.
Keep in mind, he got all of this insight and instruction from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the wheel, on this big UFO that everybody called us crazy about. Now everybody is saying you crazy if you don't believe that in aliens and UFOs, your government can't stop talking about UFOs. But we was crazy. He was crazy. He's giving you details about what was told to him. It's not no mystery, unidentified who it is or what it is. He's telling you exactly who it is, what he said, and how it's coming true, how it actually came true.
And to maintain, preserve, and protect an increasingly corrupt and unjust social and political order. In closing, I would like to issue a warning to the president, a warning to the government, and a warning to the people of the United States of America. If I am in your mind before you of myself, if I am in your mind a hater, an anti-Semite, a wild-eyed radical, then you have nothing to fear from my presence. For I, like those who are actually like that, will go the way that history has decreed for that kind of person. However, if I am in reality in front of you by Allah's divine will, as an extension of the divine warnings given to you from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then be instructed that you would do well to leave me alone. You would do well. You would do well to leave the Nation of Islam alone and to cease and desist from your evil planning against the future of the black people of America and the world. For the black people of America, though despised and rejected, have now become the people of God, and he has declared that he will fight you for their liberation. The government would be wise to heed the counsel of Gamaliel in the days of Paul and the early Christians, who advised the rulers of that day with these words, quote, "And so in the present case I say to you, stay away from these men and let them alone, for if this plan or action should be of men, it will be overthrown. But if it is of God, you will not be able to overthrow it, nor them, or else you may even be found fighting against God. So it is not wise for you to plan against Allah's servants, for by so doing, America, you're planning against yourselves." This warning is for President Bush, the government, the chiefs of staff, and the wise to reflect upon, so that the unwary citizens of America may not be harmed by the consequences of the wicked machinations of the United States government. You may come against me, which you are free to do, since we have no power to stop you. But I warn you that I am backed by the power of Allah and his Christ, and the power of that wheel in which I received this announcement. And the moment you attempt to lay your hands on me, the fullness of Allah's wrath will descend upon you and upon America. And before you will be able to establish your mockery of me, if that is what you wish to do. For what was revealed to me in the wheel, you will see these wheels are what you call UFOs in abundance over the major cities of America. And the calamities that America is presently experiencing will increase in number and in intensity, that you might humble yourselves to the warning contained in this announcement, or be totally destroyed from the face of the earth. This is a final warning. This is a final warning to you. The ball is now in your court. You may do with it, with me, and with us as you see fit.
All right, so we're gonna go from that and fast forward. That was 1989, and we're gonna just fast forward to what they thought about this message. This is their response.
Wow. Huh.
Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. Yeah.
That's for this missing Delta.
No.
What up?
Unconfirmed reports about Gaddafi being captured.
Really?
Unconfirmed. Yeah. We've had too many. We've had a bunch of those before. We've had, you know, have had him captured a couple of times.
A few moments later.
The land of unconfirmed reports.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Did it have anything to do with your visit?
No, oh, I'm sure it did. We saw, he died. We came, we saw, he died.
Did it have anything to do with your visit?
No, oh, I'm sure it did.
So there you have it. That's that part. I can also play this. I'm gonna, play this part because God is the most merciful, but he say don't confuse me giving these devils a longer life or allowing them to live a long life as though they're getting away. He says, no, I extend their life so that they can continue to build up their sins and their violations, so to justify what I'm going to do to them. And actually, I can't say this, but it's not even what he's going to do to them. God made Moses into a God, and he gave Moses the power to do with this enemy, Pharaoh, and his people and this world, the chastisement that he wanted to do. And Moses, being a God, grew his little brother into a God, and his little brother ultimately was the one who was the crusher or the Christ against the wicked. So the gods is far beneath the gods at this point. You know what I'm saying? The book says that he's gonna raise one from among the slaves to destroy you, right? It's beneath God. So I'm gonna leave that there, but let me see. I'm gonna play this last little one and we're gonna talk.
By the Son of Man, that you call unidentified flying objects, that you and white people put above top secret, that's real. There's a plane out there made like a wheel. Ezekiel saw it 550 years before Jesus was born. A wheel in the middle of the air, run by the grace of God, with eyes all around it, meaning people in it. It's not from another planet. It's made by the Son of Man to destroy this world. It's up there now, 40 miles above us. It's like a city in the sky. And I saw, as it were, a city come down from heaven. It's made like that. It has 1,500 little planes on it. They follow me everywhere I go. You can take it or leave it. I'm not trying to impress you. I know wheel. And the power of the wheel is the power that guides me. I'm not before you of myself. I'm a guided man. That's why the white man is tearing his hair out, because he's plotted against me at every turn, but he can't seem to get me. Maybe God will deliver me into your hands to deliver me from your hands.
All right. So this brings us back to the original subject and what it has to do with all of this. This whole thing is about us. This whole thing is about us here in America, in the United Snakes of America. I'm talking about the Black and indigenous. The Black and indigenous, specifically the Black, the so-called Native American, and the so-called Mexican or Latino. We are the people. Don't get it twisted. This is not excluding the Asian family, because this big wheel, as we taught by the Messiah or Master Fard Muhammad, this big wheel right here, that's a half a mile by a half a mile, which is the fulfillment of Ezekiel, the Bible's Ezekiel, book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel's wheel, or Moses' pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day, the chariot that God travels on, where he met Moses on the top of a mountain, or the whirlwind that that took Elijah up into heaven in the whirlwind, which is a circular, wind, or Enoch, or everybody of Jesus. All of this talking about the same character and the same vehicle. All of this is about us. And this is why Gaddafi was targeted, because they knew Gaddafi's connection with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and with Minister Farrakhan, and what he was destined and about to do for us in the form of freeing us and reparations, and us being able to get back home, to return home to our mother continent, Africa, and be embraced by our own people. That's going to happen anyway. But this was also a test and a trial on the devil, on the beast. If the beast was going to benefit from the Jonah grace and get an extended amount of time of grace to remain, they would have had to pass that test, which they failed. So that's why I even played, these receipts, because our people, a lot of us, we so partied up and chasing money and chasing ass and whatever we chasing, that even if we did remember these things, we forgot about them. Just even like the UFO subject, you know what I'm saying? You don't realize how much damage and how much blasphemy and how much grief that you caused the real believers and knowers of this subject that had to endure what you put us through. But God is not trying to destroy you. He telling us that we got to pardon that and turn the other cheek and say, forgive them, Lord. They know not what they do. But once you do know, then that's your ass. Then you're responsible for what you know. And that's what this is. This is the season of getting all y'all blood off our hands and trying to save our own souls and be well pleasing to our boss, our God, Father, who art in heaven, that assigned this mission to us to deliver his messages. We can't make you believe nothing. I don't care what you believe. I really don't care what you believe. I care what message that I can deliver it and make it clear and provide as much receipts and all of that based on my intelligence. And, I'm not no journalist. I don't know how to speak these words and all that, but I know in my street language how to put language together just like a rapper and paint the picture that needs to be painted so you understand what I'm saying. It don't mean do you believe it. I don't give a damn if you believe it. Do you understand it? Do you understand what we saying and what we showing? Oh, yeah. So y'all believe that he Jesus and God is a yes. That's exactly what I'm saying. Hell no, I don't believe that. Cool. Great. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe it. But when I play these receipts and you claim that, yeah, we need reparations, or why Farrakhan just didn't go to, get the $1 billion a different kind of way and all this, you don't have no clue about how the warfare really works and how, Satan really works and why he's not going for self. He could have been did that. He could have been left us and been, like I said, living like a king and a god for the rest of his days. But God assigned him to us. We are his people. We are Farrakhan's people. He don't want to live without us. If he can't bring us, then he failed. So that same way with Moses. If y'all know about Moses, he alleged, according to the story, he had to die out in the wilderness, you know what I'm saying, in the desert with his people. He didn't get to see the promised land with them. He had to get called up because they was giving him so much problems, but they thought he died. But no, he was with the God, and God made Moses into a God, and now Aaron had to do the rest of the time among the people, 40 years or whatever in the desert, until the Joshua generation finally fought the giants or the Canaanites, because the people of Moses' generation was too cowardly. They was too much of a punk. There was too much complaining and making up excuses and all of that. But these youth, they steppers and hitters, they don't care. And that's what we speak the language of. That's what this whole rap thing is about. So I'm gonna play this little thing, this little Farrakhan again. This is from 1996. Farrakhan was denied the initial first billion that Muammar Gaddafi was trying to give to us, the black people of North America, the descendants of slaves. He was giving us our reparations. Much as y'all scream about reparations and why y'all Muslims don't got this and why y'all don't got that, because Pharaoh and his army, we would have to go to physical bloodshed warfare to get that. Was we ready to do that? No, we got to wait on God. We got to wait on the God of that wheel. We got to wait on this God for his grace to be up, which is up in a few months, a few days, actually. 2025, the grace is up. I'm not going to go into the math behind that. But like I said, from 1975, 85, 95, 2005, 2025, it's mathematics. This is the final grace period. We had 60 years not to exceed 70, starting from 1955. 1955 is the year that the honorable, so this is the same character, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan came to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1955. 1955 was also the 400th year of our captivity, the descendants of slaves in North America. We first came here as slaves in 1555. So in 1955, that's 400 years. In 1955, Minister Farrakhan came to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and joined the nation on the 400th year. So from 1955, 60 years of grace not to exceed 70. 70 years of grace is 2025. It's over with. The grace is over with. And you're going to see the full wrath of God and the gods and his angels come down starting 2025. The devils know it. The Satans know it. That's why they doing all this false drone alien business. That's why they doing all of the Satanry and trying to sabotage and set everything up like they doing. Because, it's going to fall on Trump. It's going to fall on Trump's lap. But Trump is the dude, the art of the deal dude. Trump is the pharaoh or the president that, according to scripture, that's going to do the deal. You know what I'm saying? Do the Exodus deal. But, after some plagues and some curses hit. So I'm not going into no details about that. But we at the end of it. Take it or leave it, believe it or not, love it, hate it. I do not care. That's not what this is about. If you happy, you doing whatever you doing with your life, praying to whatever God that you believe in, then stay there. Stay there. If you think that your God is the real God and this Farrakhan and Fard Muhammad and these characters right here, this is some crazy sci-fi foolishness, and this is some antichrist, Lucifer, antichrist, false prophet, then stay right there. You stay right there. Let's see. We shall see in a few days. As though you haven't seen every shot that Minister Farrakhan, every guidance that he has called that's super controversial and he's supposed to be crazy or dead or assassinated or locked up for. None of it has been wrong. Every single one of them has been correct, and he's still alive, but they have to come try to deal with him because the time is up. They have to now. So we'll see how that go. But I just wanted to play this one more little, just so y'all can see who y'all voted for. Just so y'all can see what y'all voted for the last two or three presidents, from Clinton on the way up, since you love to claim Democrat, since black people love to claim Democrat. This is what your party did against you. But you don't care because you just want to be a boss. You want to be a boss chick, or you want to be a boss dude or political dude and say, I'm in the White House, or I'm in a press secretary club, and I'm this and that. All right, well, this party and this government that you believe in, that you love and you so proud of, is who denied you your reparations directly. And the one that just was running told you to your face that I'm not going to do nothing that's just going to benefit black people in terms of reparations. But they giving billions to everybody else right in your face. So not only was they going to not give you no billions or trillions or nothing, they not even going to allow your African brothers and family to give it to you when they not willing to give it to you. And you claim that. You claim to be a Democrat, or you claim to be a Republican. Nah, you belong to Satan. So this is your last window, because you're still going to try to make an excuse about why you're supposed to vote for Pharaoh or the Egyptians system. You still going to make an excuse, so stay there. The federal government denied Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan permission. Not that he needed a permission, but there's rules of engagement. There's rules of engagement between Moses, Aaron, and Pharaoh. He's the law of the land. He's the leader. He's the king. Okay, well, we're going to go through the proper channels like the Quran and Bible say. Go to Pharaoh. Speak to him a gentle word and tell him to let my people go with you. The God knew he was going to reject. He'd already told him in 1985 who the war was planned against. He already know which of these African leaders is trying to help free his people and give his people reparations. He knew it was Gaddafi. He once told Farrakhan it's Gaddafi on the wheel and told him, tell the people that you got it from me. So the federal government denies Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan permission Wednesday to accept a promised $1 billion gift. He's calling it a gift. No strings attached. No, that's just a gift. That's just a good faith gift, because what I promised you, they didn't say that because Farrakhan didn't tell him that yet. What I promised Farrakhan for the benefit of the black nation, descendants of slaves, my long lost brothers and sisters in North America, I promised him the entire wealth of Libya, gold, diamonds, land, resources, natural gas, that's into the trillions. That belongs to my brothers and sisters in North America. They didn't tell you that. They didn't type that part up. Farrakhan told us that because he was the one who was there talking with his brother. And your political party and your political heroes and rulers that you vote for is the ones that denied it. Not just denied it, took his life and laughed about it. While you talking about feminism, girl power, we need a girl president or whatever. Accused of supporting global, well, let me back that up. To help African Americans economically and politically. Economically is politically, right? All we really want to hear is economically. He's trying to give $1 billion, not later on, but immediately. He got it. He got trillions, you know what I'm saying? Worth of gold. I forgot how many tons, hundreds or thousands of tons of gold that America seized. And even the $1 billion that he tried to put up, they froze it and kept it. These are Satans. These are Satans. And you loving Satan and you voting for Satan and you campaigning and promoting Satan and you falling out with your own family members and with Farrakhan and the Muslims choosing Satan over them, over your own Messiah, your own man. Accused of supporting global terrorism. Libya for years has been under U.S. sanction, accused of supporting global terrorism. Now, are Libya the global terrorism supporters? Who's the real terrorist? What's your last name? Where your reparations at? What happened to you for 400 years? Who's the global terrorist? Who's the colonizers of the world? What race wickedly rules every continent? Oh, it's Gaddafi in them? It's Gaddafi. Okay. Accused of supporting global terrorism, Libya for years. For how many years? 400? For how many years? Let's compare the years. Libya for years has been under U.S. sanctions that bar most financial transactions between the two countries and limit travel. Farrakhan has applied last week to the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, asking that he be granted an exemption from the sanctions to permit him to accept the $1 billion pledge by Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi during a visit Farrakhan made to Libya in January. The Treasury Department denied that request. The Treasury Department, oh, you mean the department that prints the money that's responsible for giving us our reparations, our 40 acres and the mule? You mean our tax dollars that's going to Israel and Ukraine and everybody else for the last 70 something years? That Treasury Department, they denied the request in a message to Farrakhan's lawyers in Chicago, asserting the continuing need of the United States to enforce its policy of isolating Libya. Why do Libya need to be isolated? Because they independent? Because they don't want to be slaves to your U.S. petrodollar? Why do Libya supposed to be isolated? Because they promote or they sponsor terrorism? Oh, so the CIA don't? The United States government, it ain't been coming out and all these whistleblowers and confessions of an economic hitman, and you know what I'm saying? That America ain't the biggest supporter and sponsor of terrorism and terrorists on the planet? Oh, okay. Libya is the problem. The government denial came just a day after Farrakhan said, if the exemptions are not approved, I will go across the nation stirring up not only my own people, but all those who would benefit from this gift. Farrakhan was en route to Libya, where he's scheduled to receive $250,000 in a humanitarian award from Gaddafi on Saturday. But that gift, too, was barred by the government decision. So, damn, we can't have no help. You not going to help us, and you not going to allow nobody else to help us. That's why God going to help us in the form of that. That's why God revealed what he revealed. Hold on, son, in whom I'm well pleased, Farrakhan. This transfiguration, my Christ child. Hold on. It's Christmas, so-called Christmas coming up in a few days, right? Well, we're going to really have a real Christ, the real Christmas. Hold on, son. Few more days. I'm coming to get you. You know, like the Bible say, behold, he calls for Elijah. Okay, wait, let's see if Elijah comes to save him. Yeah, let's see. That's what we all waiting for. Wait. I too with you am of those who wait. We all wait now. At least we can identify who we waiting on. You don't know who you waiting on. You waiting on Trump, or you waiting on Kamala Harris. You waiting on some white president. That's what you waiting on. But in the meantime, we had already organized with our nickels and dimes. We still have became united and independent and separate. A nation within a nation. I'm talking about the NOI. Poor and all, but you see why we poor, because he don't want to sacrifice us. He don't want to send us into no gun battle, no bloodshed battle to try to get reparations when he knows there go our weapon right there. There go our warlords right there. And there go our top weapon. And like he said, you're going to see these wheels over all of the major cities of America before you can establish your mockery of me on that subject. What everybody freaking out about right now as we go into the last few days of grace, as we go into 2025, the end of grace, what everybody freaking out about now? What is the Pentagon freaking out about now? What is Congress freaking out about now? What is all these military generals breaking their non-disclosure agreements about now, even though they still lying? What they freaking out about? What's this drone subject trying to cover up? What they freaking out about? Oh, it ain't so crazy now, huh? All right. So Farrakhan says, quote, we ain't terrorists. We are not terrorists. We're not trying to do anything against the good of America. Why are you trying to hinder us? Why are you trying to block us or block any good and any help and any repair that's coming for us? Because you Satans. What we want to do is good for our people. And ultimately, us doing good for our people is good for this nation. But, we got to give them, we got to allow them to go on record and show the receipts and show the actions that they rejected. And they said, F you, messenger, and F your God, and F your people. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing with them. So that's why the plagues have begun as they have, which was, started with the pandemic and the weather. At the State Department, spokesman Glenn Davies said before Wednesday's announcement that, quote, obviously Gaddafi has an interest in gaining a foothold here in America, in the United States. So he's trying to say that Gaddafi was trying to gain support or, pay for supporters to build up supporters in America among the black people, like they do, like the economic hitman do when they destabilize other governments. They go find the dissatisfied pockets of rebels or whatever, and they flood them with money and guns and press, media coverage, and stir them up and help, build them up because they know how to speak the language of the people. So they saying that Gaddafi was trying to do that with us to try to make us little workers of Libya, like we're going to be like little minions of Gaddafi, minions of Libya. No, we ain't prostitutes. We ain't no 304s. Gaddafi was getting with our program. We wasn't getting with Gaddafi program. We not Libyans. We the chosen people of God that Gaddafi recognized, just like in the Bible, the wise men. They knew who the little Christ child was. They knew who the Christ baby nation was. And they wanted to offer gold and myrrh and frankincense because they wanted the little Christ baby to remember them and to be favorably and remember what I did for you, you know what I'm saying, when everybody else was trying to kill you and stomp you out, and Herod and all of them was trying to get rid of you. But I helped you. I try to bring gold to you. Merry Christmas. So they saying obviously Gaddafi had an interest. Yeah, he had an interest, but it wasn't about gaining no quote unquote foothold in America for some political reasons. He spiritually knew who we were. But these Satan said, of course, that kind of talk is not something that we view positively at all. So they blocked it. You ain't finna be able to block this. Let's see you block these. Let's see you block these now. Since you so good at blocking, let's see you block this now. These two men and this wheel and what's coming out this wheel and what's coming out their technology. Because it ain't just that. It ain't just that wheel and just them 1,500 baby bombing planes that got all your nuclear missile test sites in checkmate. It's just not that. Everything that y'all did to us, all this Dr. Fauci virus, weapons, and all of that. Oh, God and his angels got all that. Oh, they gonna return all that if they please. They gonna make all these Satans kiss the dust of our boots before it's all over with. We will be ruling them. Those of us that stay with Farrakhan, that stay with Honorable Elijah Muhammad and these teachings in our nation and stay faithful, we will be ruling them. And their life and death and souls is going to be at our discretion. So I guess I'll get into the comments right now. I know I didn't talk an hour and a half. I want to hear from y'all. And I didn't look at the comments at all. But here's the StreamYard link. If y'all want to, get on with me and tell me what you think about the receipts of who Farrakhan is and what Farrakhan has been doing and suffering and fighting for us, and how Farrakhan has been attacked and starved out and denied, helping us to get what America would never give us and what your politicians that you voted for would never give us. The KKK, I said it yesterday, that the oil baron of the KKK immediately hit Honorable Elijah Muhammad with millions to buy, I forgot how many acres, hundreds or thousands of acres of farmland way back, I don't know, the 60s, 50s, 60s or something like that. And Libya, you got people that's right away. I got the bread right now. We don't have to go through no politricks, no politicians, magicians. I see who you are. I know God is with y'all. I want favor with God. I want God to be pleased with me by me recognizing y'all and helping y'all immediately. That's how it's supposed to go. Ain't no goddamn negotiations. Ain't no negotiations when it come to that. You want to play the negotiation game? Okay, negotiate with this. Negotiate with them. See how they handle your negotiations. We ain't negotiating nothing. But yeah, there's the StreamYard link, man. And I apologize for not, this is a subject that I can't interrupt in the comments and address in the comments until I got that all the way out. So I probably have some great ideas or whatever, but I'm open for it right now for the next few minutes. Charles Lee Ray. What is Charles Lee Ray saying? I'm scrolling. I got to scroll. Meanwhile, black men waiting on UFOs and pestilence. Charles Lee Ray. We're not just waiting on that. We live in our life. What are you talking about? Charles Lee Ray. Just the fact that, that profile picture already looks suspicious. Why would you? Are you black, Charles Lee Ray? I expect demons and trolls to, to try to interrupt. But, if you really got something to say, you can hop on the live with me. Commit.
Salute, Cam. What's happening?
Man. Oh man, peace, salute. What's your thoughts, bro?
Oh man, that's a real interesting. It was real interesting hearing him break that down, and I see a lot of, well, I can't say a lot of truth, but I see a whole lot of truth in that, and it's sad how they dealing with Libya, how they denied that. I remember hearing about that, but I understand how the government work against anyone who come up amongst us. But as far as when it comes to those teaching, I feel like I feel like the Most High, when it came to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he gave us a man with guidance and power. It seems like, because I haven't seen nobody else that came up amongst us like that. Just looking,
Right.
looking back.
I mean, if you know of somebody that the enemy was not able to touch, he didn't depart from us in some kind of violent way, or some kind of enemy, beat him or whatever. It allegedly looked like it was natural causes or whatever, but even in that, we hearing direct guidance, direct detailed information that Minister Farrakhan couldn't possibly have known regarding President Reagan and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and them planning a war against Gaddafi and against us, Black people of America. Why would Reagan or his Joint Chiefs of Staff or some whistleblower come tell Farrakhan that? You know what I'm saying?
Right. But yeah, it's we live in an interesting time, man. And the one thing, just looking back, I know I wasn't around when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing his thing, but being present today, I can clearly see that all those that came near Elijah or heard his teachings they was changed. They was transformed,
Yeah, without a doubt. And you transform mentally by the renewing of our mind. Our mind got renewed. Our mind got quickened to life. So we wasn't scared to ask questions. We wasn't scared to call out things. We wasn't scared to discipline ourselves. We wasn't scared to take back our own health and power and ideas. We wasn't, his teaching removed the fear of Satan from us.
Yeah, because I had to ask myself the question: who outside of Elijah scared this white man like that?
I'm waiting for the answer, and I'm not. When we say you got to be careful about when you say this white man, the wicked powers, the wicked white supremacist powers. Who upset the wicked white supremacist powers of America and the world like that?
I haven't seen it, man. I've been looking, I've been searching, I've been looking, but I haven't the way Elijah his teachings, man, it's like you said, they have withstand the test of time, and no other teachings raised up Black men and women like those teachings have.
Right, and a living leader, though. It wasn't just the teachings; it's a messenger, a living example of the teachings. Because you just can't have a revelation or teachings or a book or a Bible and not have a man that go along with it. So
you're exactly right.
It's the man that proves it. Anything can sound good or whatever, it might be true, but you got to prove it by being the presenter or the demonstrator of the teachings.
Right, and I guess he's like I've heard the minister Farrakhan say before. He said Lazarus met Jesus. Who have we met? And I said we met Elijah.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Anybody that's claiming a prophet or a messenger or whatever, he have to be in your time. You have to see him. You can't be bragging about a messenger that was 1,000 years ago. That's not your messenger. Your messenger comes in your time speaking your language. And he comes from among you. He don't come from somebody else. He don't come from somewhere else. He's not a foreign. God never sends a foreigner. He raises his messengers from among the people that that he's sending his message to.
That's real. Yeah, man. Because the way I see it, it's like it's like you said, we needed a deliverer like Elijah. Because when you look at it, it's like we need all the prophets rolled up in one, because we have faced all the problems the prophets has faced rolled up in one. You know, I heard the minister go into that, and I don't want to take credit for that, but I got that through speak. You know, I've heard different lessons that the minister brought out years ago. You know,
Yeah. So it's not a it's not a political issue. It's a spiritual issue. Life and creation and all of that is a God issue, not religion, but it's God. It's a God issue. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be solved through no politics. Politics is, especially of this world, that's already satanic. That's Satan's system. Ain't nothing going to get solved by no politics. It's going to get solved by the laws of justice, the universal laws of justice or nature.
yeah. So let me ask you a question. Why do you think a lot of our people are afraid to have the same spirit that Jesus had, since they believe in Jesus so much?
Because they don't believe in Jesus so much. That's how you, that's how you can prove they don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah, that's real, man.
You know what I'm saying? Whole game, but you can you can answer it that simple, because if you really believed what you say you believe, that you would be doing, what's required, what it says that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's real, man. Because I remember the minister saying that he had me cracking up, man. He was like, what do you think Moses of 4,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, I forgot what the exact number was, but he was like, what would you think Moses coming into 2024 with his rod going into Chicago, looking at the situations going on in Chicago? He was basically like, he might have to run back to God and ask for more power. You know what I'm saying? Because,
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is a greater time. We're living in a greater time with a greater technology, greater wickedness, greater evil, greater influence. So what was going on thousands of years ago, that wasn't global. That was Sodom and Gomorrah was just two cities. Shit, today Sodom and Gomorrah is every continent.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Every
Yeah,
city is
yeah,
Sodom and Gomorrah now.
yeah. Because this Pharaoh, with his technology and power, yeah.
Yep. So I see Tony said our government is here giving all these weapons and money away to other countries, yet won't allow a leader of a foreign nation, which ain't foreign to us. That's our original. That's our home. That's our brother. But they call him an enemy, right? But they won't allow our own brother to give us financial aid. You know what I'm saying? That's going to go towards positive change for us, a positive change and help that they not willing to do themselves when they the ones destroyed us. They the ones destroyed us, and they not willing to help repair us, and they don't want our own brothers to help repair us. So that's Satan. That's called Satan. That's why the Bible say that we're captives. We're legal captives according to their so-called legal law. We're captives. So God comes to take the prey from the predator.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because we can clearly see, they stole the land, stole the people, and changed both their names.
Yeah. So my job is just to put it out there. My job ain't to make nobody believe nothing or to feel nothing, no kind of way. And I don't know what you're gonna do with this information. My job is just to put it out there. The receipts. True story. Peace. Can you hear me? Oh, they got
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Oh man, you got it. What's your thoughts on this?
Oh man, I think that from everything that you've said so far. Hold on, I got two mics. Let me just change this up. I think everything that you said so far, brother, has been on code. Everything. Hold on 1 second. I'm getting a delay, so I want to make sure I change this up a little bit here.
What you think about just seeing or being reminded of that receipt of the U.S. government under Clinton, under the Democrats, for all us black people that love to call ourselves a Democrat, for them to be the ones to make the laws and craft the laws that put us in such terrible condition with the 3 strikes and the crime bill and the war on gangs and all that stuff from Reagan all the way down. And then they're the same ones that denied our own African brother from helping us with not just 1 billion. 1 billion was the initial good faith gift that he was just trying to immediately demonstrate to help us, but he promised Farrakhan the wealth of all of Libya to back it, which is trillions and the trillions of dollars. And if right before he got assassinated allegedly by his own people, but Hillary Clinton says we came, we saw, he died, it was because of us. Before that happened to him, he was on the run and doing like little manifestos saying that I turn over my authority to my deputy Farrakhan and this and that. People you can't find that nowhere now online. But then once they got him and destroyed Libya and bombed them back into the Stone Age and stole hundreds or thousands of tons of gold that he had stored up, then you ain't heard nothing else about it. So I'm putting this out there just for that reason, because I know God is about to do what he do in a few days. And I want us to be reminded and up to speed on exactly why he's doing it, because he ain't going to just do it to them. He going to do it to us because we sided with them instead of siding with Farrakhan.
Yeah, that's the, when you talk about, that's why, hey, I got to always bring it back to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in that he taught us about trigonometry, right? He taught us that, hey, the evil forces or whatever is going to, when presented with the truth, don't deny the truth. And once you see the facts or once you see the receipts, then go ahead and believe that instead of believing these falsehoods and fables that now has been revealed as a falsehood and fable. And if you understand anything about someone that is a liar, that is a historical liar, one group told you that I think it was in Wounded Knee, Buried My Heart at Wounded Knee, when the native people said they kept telling us lie after lie after lie. The only thing that they told us was that the truth was, they told us that they were going to take our land. And they did.
Yeah.
And I think Elijah, 2 things. One is, I wanted to come back and just ask you a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you touched upon something, that a messenger is a messenger of their time.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that many people don't get, and a lot of real people that call themselves Christians don't get that. So I want to ask you, what was how does reveal that lesson or that teaching about messengers, about Elijah or about a messenger in Scripture, and how it's for their time?
Yeah, a messenger is an example. A messenger cannot even, a divine messenger. Let me say that specifically. A divine messenger that comes from God. History always shows that divine messenger comes from the people that he sent to. So he don't come from another country. He don't come speaking another language. He don't require you to have to learn another language like Hebrew or Aramaic or Arabic or nothing like that. No, God sends his messenger to the people speaking their language. Any so-called believer or preacher or prophet or whatever that claims that you have to learn another language is a false prophet, is a con man, is a demon. They trying to trick you, because if the message is not in your language, that's not a messenger from God. If the messenger ain't from your people, that's not your messenger from God, right? If you talk about the specific character called the Messiah has a home country. He has a home native people and language. He's the Messiah of the whole world, but he's from a specific people in a specific location first. And then, he goes and his ministry is expanded to where he goes and speaks the language through interpreters of the local people. But if you don't fulfill, if your people or your country or whatever don't fulfill those stories that's mentioned in the Bible and in the Quran, then you're waiting for the Messiah. You're waiting for the Mahdi or the Messiah or the Christ. We ain't. We already got him.
Yeah. I can't hear you. Yeah, that messenger is coming to, and I put it as a question. That I believe that messenger is coming to a people in a specific location to correct a particular condition, like of those people, and let that shine out to the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the reason why that is because the people that's in the worst mental, spiritual, and physical condition, they are the universal example for all people, right? So if we got done the worst and became the worst mentally dead and went through the longest and the worst hell in the annals of history, that means we are the standard. You know what I'm saying? We're the master key that we can go anywhere and teach somebody how to get out of evil or how to outsmart Satan or how to conquer Satan. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Bible say us specifically, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, or for unto us a child is born. Not to everybody. I mean, ultimately it's going to benefit everybody, but he got to be born somewhere. He's not born everywhere on the planet. He's born to a specific people at a specific location speaking a specific language. For unto us, the child is born. His work is with us first, and then it's with everybody else.
That's right. Questions I'll ask, so follow up on that is, when someone hears the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, and let's say this person is Muhammad Ali, and then Muhammad Ali becomes a champion and someone that is beloved amongst Black people, and I can't think of any, like, one of a figure in our history, right, like Muhammad Ali, that said, listen, I'm willing to give up everything for this truth that I got right here. And I think that, shows the power of another example of the power of Elijah's teachings, that the two most beloved people in the African American, Black community and throughout the world are Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X.
Right.
Making them stand strong.
And unfortunately, for people that put Malcolm X above his teacher, they put Malcolm X above Elijah Muhammad. They put Malcolm X above Farrakhan. They put Malcolm X above Muhammad Ali. Unfortunately, it was just the opposite, because if you go check the receipts of Muhammad Ali, he replaced Malcolm X. He became globally known. He's the one that made the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the NOI teachings the more quickly globally known. He took Malcolm X's place, and unfortunately, he was speaking on exactly why and exactly what happened to to Malcolm, and Malcolm started believing he was the leader, and Malcolm deviated, and he was, you hear him saying it, and then you allegedly hear in some memoirs after he couldn't talk no more, after he said that was his biggest regret or something like what. We never heard him say that. Malcolm never, not Malcolm, Muhammad Ali never bit his tongue. He would have said that while he could talk if that's how he felt. So now we got to believe that some autobiography of him saying something like that after he can't talk or verify it no more. You know what I'm saying? That we supposed to believe he said that. When have Muhammad Ali, he was the Louisville Lip. When did he ever hold his tongue and don't say what he felt?
Never. Also, too, and I wonder whether do you take into consideration that Malcolm X was young, right? He was really young. And that maybe if he had lived, if he had the perspective of living, let's say another 10, 15 years, if he was reflecting on that decision and, everything that transpired, that with maturity and with experience, he may have reached a different decision. Because I can't remember what age he was, but I think he was in his maybe 25, 26. Could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I think he was 39. I think he died or got assassinated at 39, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, still young. You know what I'm saying? Still I'm sorry, I'm thinking about somebody, but he was still, that's still young, to a certain degree. But things play out the way they play out. But I think it's fair to say that the people that love and think about him as Malcolm X. Think about who he was and the strength that he had when he was with the nation. Yeah,
and like I said, he wasn't a black nationalist. He wasn't a political figure. He was against politics. He was a spiritual man. He was a Muslim. So for us to keep saying if he had lived as though somebody other than God had the power over his life and death. You know what I'm saying?
You're right, 100%.
So why did Elijah live and Farrakhan live and even Muhammad Ali live? Like, if you can't judge it by your feelings, we got to judge it by the facts. Who's God? Who keeps people alive? Who keeps the devil from harming us or from killing us? Us, the Muslims, the FOI. Should we really got the power to, with all these weapons and poisons and shit, that technology that these devils got? Is the FOI really keeping Farrakhan alive? Shit, he keeping us alive.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, I'm having. Let me make sure I'm trying to get this right. Because for some reason I'm having like a little time delay. 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Yo, Cam, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you definitely have a time delay.
I got a delay.
Yeah, it's a delay going on now with the picture. It might be audio, might be right on time, but now the picture is not.
I'm gonna go out and then come back in.
All right.
I got a delay, Cam.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, my channel been doing that ever since I've been doing these subjects. So I expect a full blackout soon. It's all good. There's the StreamYard link though. Anybody that want to hop on here with me, I don't know. Y'all might be having discussions with each other in the chat that I can't keep up with, but I don't want y'all to catch carpal tunnel syndrome and with all that typing. It's way easier to hop on the live if y'all want to speak. Y'all can even speak to each other on the live. I can be quiet if y'all want to hop on the live with each other and talk. Because I'm only going to be on here for a few more minutes. I'm already at 2 hours, but I love being able to just show certain receipts, and whatever you do with these receipts is your business. You know what I'm saying? That receipt right there that lets you know who you voted for and who you're voting for and who you still believing in when you shouldn't be. Clearly, history shows who you should have listened to and followed and obeyed, and and saw as your leader and your ruler, since you voting for devils to be your ruler and 304s, political prostitutes to be your ruler. You may as well have voted for the one that been calling all the divine shots since you've been alive and ain't been wrong yet. Well, I don't know why you don't want to, call him your leader, but hey, that's on you. Commit. G from the Bay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to ask you a question. Is there what's the science, or is there any science behind the most honorable Elijah Muhammad only going to the 4th grade?
Not to my knowledge. I'm sure it's a science behind every aspect of his life. He didn't finish the 4th grade. He finished the 3rd grade and went to part of the 4th grade and didn't complete the 4th grade. So I'm sure that might have something to do with the 3.5 years that he spent being taught by God in person.
Okay.
So it might be in line with that.
So why do you think the government won't tell the American people about the phenomenon, or what they call maybe a phenomenon, about the will?
Because we would revolt. It's a question in our lessons that say, why does the devil keep our people apart from his social equality? And the answer is because he does not want us to know how filthy he is in all his affairs. He's afraid that when we learn about him, that we will run him from among us, right? So that's just in general. But if you found out that they wasn't just filthy, but they was the most soulless, cold-blooded, diabolical, satanic, criminals against humanity and against your innocent children and babies in your own life, then we wouldn't just run them from among us. You know what we would do, right? We would crash all the way out on them on sight.
Right.
And that's going to happen.
Right.
That's going to happen. That's written that's going to happen. So, but I'm not the one to kick it off. That's something that only God can call for that holy war.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. And I was gonna ask you something. Dang, it slipped my mind. I'll think of it.
All good. True story. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you real clear right now, brother.
Oh yeah, you on time too.
All right, listen, I'm gonna respect your time, man, because I know you got to go. But I'm just gonna ask you one question, and like I said before, I got like a number of different questions to ask you about.
No, you can ask them. I'll let you know. I got a good maybe 10 minutes in me.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you that. Do you think that as someone that is a Christian, that what they have to do or their behavior as a Christian would be different than if you were to join the nation? There are certain things that you have to abide by, right?
Yeah.
That you can't be. You can be a Christian. You can almost do whatever it is that you want. Go on Sunday and then come out. You don't have to change anything. So maybe you can just talk about that difference between Christianity and being a member of the nation.
Yeah, just the laws of reality is law. Reality and peace and order is only established through law. If there's no law, there's no love. If there's no law, there's no order. If there's no law, there's no peace. So like it or not, when we come into the world, we automatically are slaves to certain laws. We don't look at them as certain, we might not look at them as laws, but they laws. Like, what I'm saying? You have to breathe oxygen. You're 98.6 degrees. I'm saying? You made out of water. You are a male. If you're born a male, what I'm saying? You can never have a baby if you're a male. You can never do what a man do. So the closer and the more strict we are to following and mastering, being obedient to the natural laws of our creation, that's where our success and our peace and our unity and our progress and all that come in at. If you following a so-called religion or faith or organization that tells you can do whatever you feel, whatever you want to do, or whatever you imagine, that's satanic. Anything that's anti-law, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless, they say, well, our law is there is no law. Okay, well, that's Satan. That's chaos. You are not to be trusted. You are poison. You are poisonous. So you either will have to be brought in line and brought under the law or removed.
That's right. That's right. If you want to continue to be unchanged in your behavior, then you go this route. But you want to be part of something, right? And you want to feel good about yourself, then you go this way, right? You're going to go left. You're going to go down. You're going to dodge it. But if you want to change your life and live a moral and just life, then you go in this direction.
Right. Let me address this comment. Blacks want reparations for what? Deep line style. I'm Native American and would never ask these people for ish. Hop on a live with me, deep line style, because if you really are Native American, if you're a man, I don't know if you're a man or a woman, then you wouldn't type. We talking live. This is live. This is the benefit of going live, that we make ourselves available in real time to look at each other's eyes, listen to each other's voice, spirit, all of that. And since you said that you would never ask these people for ish. Let's talk about it. I want to see, the receipts of what tribe of Native Americans that you're from, what reservation, what your condition is, what agreement that you have with the colonizers. You know what I'm saying? I want to know that, and how many soldiers that you got that's moving something that think like you think. What are you moving? What are you accomplishing with that emotional position? Are you willing to do that with me, deep style? Get on here with us and enlighten us, educate us on what we shouldn't ask for. I'm not worried about feelings. We're not talking about feelings. So we'll see if he show up. But there you go. True story. What you think about that?
I think that perhaps one, I think that he's absolutely misguided and he's misinformed, in that they've already received reparations. Native American have received reparations. So he's maybe he's saying he's not going to ask for it anymore, but you've already received it, and perhaps you don't. You're saying he's saying he won't ask. Well, others are asking on your behalf.
Right, that's what I want to hear. Yeah, I just want to hear his explanation. I don't want to speak for him or answer for him. I want him to answer his own comment.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here's another. Let's talk about the reparations thing for just a second, right? That if someone says, if we just take it back to the civil rights era, Black people were paying state and federal taxes for roads that they couldn't go down. They were paying state and federal taxes for schools that they could not attend, right? So they're paying into a system, state and federal mandated, out of their paychecks, and not getting any of the services that others should do. Their state and tax dollars went to build libraries that they couldn't go to. Their state and federal tax dollars paid for police officers that didn't protect them, that beat the hell out of them.
Hey, I mean, I know in the nation we taught that that's our brother, that's our people. The Native American or the so-called Indian is our people. So we study our people and that community just like we study the so-called Black community, and we know that the condition of so-called reservations is just like the ghetto, is even worse. They full of alcoholism and diabetes and no running water damn near. You know what I'm saying? They got casinos and stuff like that, gambling. Like they give you some vices to destroy yourself, but our brothers on them reservations ain't moving that. They're not doing that.
Yeah, they tore apart their culture not to even touch upon what they did to the children that they removed from their tribe, put them in schools, and essentially wanted to take everything that was native, everything from their culture that made them who they were and made their parents and their grandparents who they were. They wanted to rid them of that and just replace it with being a Westerner, but you would never be a Westerner. You would always be treated as a almost like a dog, even less than a dog.
Right. It's everybody's talking this tough revolutionary, like, let me see you launch your revolution against the white man right now. You know what I'm saying? You don't ask the finesse of what you do. You take it, you go take it. Let me see you do your revolution and see how long it lasts.
Yeah. Or maybe, I'm not going to speak for him, you do have people out there that unfortunately they love their oppressor. You have people out there that love the person that oppresses them. They love the person that abuses them. And I'm not saying he's one of those. I don't know this gentleman, but there are people out there that are like that you know what, they'll say, before you can get to my oppressor, you got to go through me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He ain't showing up, so I'm going to even stop talking about it, suggesting that because that's one thing about, I don't know what they are, trolls, bots, females, whatever they are. If they don't show their face, then they're not worthy of really continuing.
So I will ask another question of this. As far as, so in Christians believe that someone has to die for their sins.
Damn.
Right? Now, the scripture says differently. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, because people have asked me that question about, well, do you believe in the blood? And when I first heard that, I was like, I didn't know what, I was confused by it. Because I didn't know anything about any blood, and then the more I learned about it, the more I found it distasteful.
Yeah, from what I understand is revolution. Like the blood is supposed to be bloodshed, like meaning the Red Sea, like warfare, fighting for your freedom and your new life. We had to shed blood to get put in this condition, and we got to shed blood to get out of it. So if you're saying that one man blood was shed for the remissions of sins or whatever, like that makes absolutely no sense. Like, because if you sin, even after he died for you, anybody can die for you. If I sin, I'm still gonna pay the price for whatever sin that I just committed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't say, I believe in Farrakhan, so I just violated your daughter, but I believe in Farrakhan, so I'm forgiven. Like, what? That's my daughter. I don't care nothing about Farrakhan. What you did to my daughter, you finna pay for.
Exactly. So I'm just going back to that belief that somehow someone could be saved that is unjust, and it can be saved by a just person dying for them. I'll let you talk about that. That's not scripture at all.
Yeah, that's not really, you dying every day for your people. You dying to show them a better example. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my death ain't taking away your sins. My death might inspire you not to sin no more. You know what I'm saying? But my death ain't finna take away nobody's sin. That's preposterous. That's a fairy tale Mother Goose nursery rhyme or something.
Yeah.
You can't even explain how that makes sense, and why that there would be a hell that exists. And then, you know, that just get into super fairy tale stuff. Like, so you telling me I got to just say I believe that Jesus is my personal Lord and Savior, but I don't know what he looked like. I never seen him. I can't describe him. I can't show him to you, but he's just my personal imaginary Lord that I just imagine whatever kind of relationship I got with him. Like that's you. Your Jesus is your own imagination. Your Jesus is your own power of your brain to, you know, to will something into existence or to be inspired or motivated to do something. You just looking for somebody else other than yourself to inspire you, but that's really just you.
Yeah, and no code of conduct. There's nothing that you have to do as a believer in that. You just have to believe that someone died for your sins.
But they got that from somebody that wasn't Jesus, right?
Yes,
Meaning,
absolutely.
like
He
who
never taught
told you
that.
who told you that that's all you have to do? You know what I'm saying? Somebody that wasn't Jesus, that never died before, that never went to heaven because they did that and came back and told you this works. You know what I'm saying? Why would you believe something like that? That don't make no kind of natural sense whatsoever.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm gonna ask another question then, because I get this question. People have asked this, and you know, maybe people that are viewing this don't know it, or maybe they have a question about it, but they don't want to come on and ask it. Is what do we believe in a nation about what happens after we die, and who was Master Farad Muhammad?
Who is?
Yes.
You said who was or who is Master Farad?
Who is Master Farad Muhammad, and also what happens to us after we die?
All right, let me address this a little bit more, this Jesus, and then I get to that thing. And if Jesus, according to the Bible, conquered Satan 2,000 years ago, and he's at the right hand of the Father, nowhere in the Bible do it say that it's going to take 2,000 years or 2024 or 2025 years after I've been in power, right, to get rid of Satan, right? I think the Bible even say he's only supposed to be loose for 1,000 years and shit. It's been 1,024 down there, 1,025 more years since that, and you know, the worst thing that happened, you allowed to happen when you was in power after you already defeated Satan, which was slavery, 400 years of slavery. Like shit, that didn't even happen when you when you was getting it your worst. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even have that shit before you got crucified. But now if you're supposed to be in power and the worst shit in annals of human history is happening to us because it was Christians that was slaves. Africans believed in Jesus. Muslims believed in Jesus. So the black people that they took from Africa, West Africa, they believed in Jesus. They believed in the Messiah. So why did this same Messiah that's supposed to be in power allow them to get enslaved for 400 years? Like, how is that my savior? If anything, it's the opposite. It's my forsaker. Shit. That's my reward for believing in you.
Yeah. I want to add one other thing to that, because I laughed about it. We laughed, but it's a serious thing that someone believes that false teaching, and as a slave, they're in the long darkness. Their life is full of misery, full of pain, full of suffering. We can't even, it would be hard to imagine that someone devilish can do anything that they want to do to you, and no one can protect you, and you believe, because you believe in it until you stop believing, that the person that you believe in has abandoned you.
Absolutely. And just by not knowing that you are God and not knowing the infinite God power of your own brain and your own belief, you create, or they, you know, they're using pain and trauma to make you create your own hell, which is fear, which is confusion and ignorance and not understanding. That's where fear comes from. If somebody teach you that you ain't nothing, you weak, you know what I'm saying, the flesh is weak and devil is so powerful. You watch all these movies, anytime it's a demon or a villain or a monster or whatever, they and they fighting against good, like good might win in the end, but you see that he gonna open his eyes at the last minute, or you know, he gonna, like, damn, we can't never kill. And the devil characters be having way more power, like supernatural powers and sci-fi powers. You know what I'm saying? Than the righteous got.
They rising in the air.
Yeah.
All sorts of devilish stuff that you should be scared of.
Yeah, the righteous ain't got no power. We just like regular mortals and shit. And these demons and devils got all of the powers, you know what I'm saying? And you can't never just kill them all the way because it got to be a sequel and shit. So all of that's programming your brain to fear that it actually exists. So you can't never relax. You can't never have peace because even though I won this battle, he's still alive and he plotting on me some more. No, that's you creating him. You bringing him back to life. The only power is what you created. And if somebody can teach you or make you believe that exists, then you're going to make it be existing in your own head. Just like if somebody can make you believe there's no cure for this disease, then you're going to check out. You're going to be depressed. You're going to go into apathy. You're going to go into, you know, give up mode because somebody made you believe that there was no cure. Yeah, but on the same token, the Christianity, you know, it wasn't Jesus that was healing you. It was your faith in Jesus that was healing you. You know what I'm saying? I believe that you Jesus, so I believe that I just need to touch the hem of your garment and I'm going to be healed. That wasn't Jesus that healed you. That was you that healed you. You just needed something to believe in and focus your righteous, your positive energy and brain power on.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And you giving, I put it in this way too, that when they give the devil so much power, you have imagined a devil that is just running, that, you know, is so powerful that it's almost like he's, you know, can't be ever defeated and he's doing all this type of things. And that's that's technology. That's what it does. It twists your mind.
Yeah, and they lure you in with some truth, meaning they're gonna make a movie that shows the average person has some telekinesis ability or some ability that that resonates with you. Like, damn, I knew we had them powers. You know what I'm saying? But then once you get in the movie, then you find out that your powers is so limited and you can't really handle. You need 5 or 6 other people that's righteous just to handle one demon, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's already planting, you know, the left hand is stronger than the right hand. Like in real life, we all know the right is stronger than the left, or positive is stronger than the negative. Yeah. But these movies that they lure you in with the hook that, oh man, it's displaying the power that I got. But then they gonna trick you and show you that no, the power you ain't got ain't enough shit, because the power that the devil got is stronger than your power.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%.
Third eye.
Hey, what's going on, people?
Man, you got it. Peace to you. What's your thoughts on this, bro?
Oh man, I was just thinking, man, I had started a petition a couple of years ago about getting black folks off the plantation, you know. And I was trying to figure out a way where we can all come together, you know, because we all have different religious beliefs. But what we all have in common is that, you know, we're descendants of slaves. So I was wondering, do you think it's possible? Is there any way, do you think we all could come together under one umbrella? You know, we could put all our differences aside and just come together under the system that, you know, the belief that we all are descendants of slaves.
It go deeper than that though, because you can't just use slaves as your is your common glue that's going that you know what I'm saying, that you already building it on weak victim trauma foundation. Okay, so you're gonna have to find out, well, who allowed us to be slaves in the first place? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, as far as you know, because we talk about these different parties, political parties, but if we had our own system instead of being split and divided,
Well, we got our own system. It's called the NOI. We are that. What you talking about? We come from all walks of life, all religious views, all political views, all agnostic, atheist views, and that is our common ground. Is that we black and we descendants of slaves? So why like you and other people ain't members of that?
Now you said this is the fruit of Islam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have people within your organization that are Christian or
We
Hebrew.
all Christian. We all believe in all of that, but Islam is not a religion. Islam just means submission. So do you submit to truth? Do you recognize anybody that knows how to do something that you don't know how to do? Do you think you equal with them in that thing, or do you think that you should submit to them if you want to learn what they learn, what they know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. You
Well,
know.
that's Islam. That's the nation of Islam. Islam just means submission. So the nation of submission to truth. So that means there's laws, though. There's chain of command.
Oh, see,
Everybody ain't equal.
Yeah, see, I didn't know when I heard of Islam. I didn't know that you would have different people who believe differently within that same organization.
Yeah, everybody don't see things the same. Everybody not in the same grade. Everybody not the same age. Everybody ain't, it's like school. You think everybody in school from K through 12 is equal? they think and believing the same? They just believe they just agree that they all need to be in school.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good one, man. Yeah, I didn't know you. Yeah, I didn't know it was you had different beliefs within the organization like that.
Yeah, we humans, but we got beliefs ain't enough. We got knowledge. We know, like you said, we know we're black. We know we descendants of slaves. We know we're being attacked, and we know which organization has the best track record to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's bottom line. If you know you need education, then you it don't matter who the teacher is. Your professor, your school teacher might be a molester. They might be whatever. You're not going there for that. You're going there for what you know you need to be going there for.
Yeah. That's real spit. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did not know. I thought it was just a religion thing,
No, it's absolutely not. Anytime you hear that, Elijah Muhammad, who is the leader, that he's screaming at the loudest. It's not religion. It's not a religion. Islam is a religion for the colored man, for the European. Islam is our natural way of life. Islam is our nature as black people. But since our nature is righteous and our nature is loving and about unity but the opposite people, the devil people, that's not their nature. So they have to learn that through a book form or through discipline, through rituals and stuff like that. So you got to put a law. It's like dancing, like, no disrespect, but white people is known to not have no rhythm or, can't hoop. They can't, what I'm saying? You got to teach them how to dance. You don't got to teach black people how to dance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they need a book. They need Darren's dance moves and shit. Okay, move the hip hop. You ever seen them little? You ain't got to teach us that. You can't shut us up. you can't stop us from having rhythm. You got to make us be still, okay? But them, they got to learn. They got to be around black people and learn how to do it.
Okay, yeah, that's solid, man. That's a good one. I didn't know that was the breakdown of it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. No, bro. I appreciate that, man.
Man, always third eye. Much love, bro. Thank you for that jewel question. That's going I'm sure help a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. All right, appreciate you, bro. I'll let y'all get to it.
All right, bro. Peace.
Hey, yo, Cam, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. What's your
I
thought?
want to ask you this, man. What would you say to somebody that would ask you the question, why would God let us go through slavery, Jim Crowism, civil rights movements, all that stuff? Why would God let that happen to us?
That's the same. You more in the branches and in the leaves instead of at the root. The root of that is why would God make devil? Right? Because all of that's just byproducts or results of devil. And devil came out of God. So God realized that it was a weak, undeveloped, immature impediment in his own nature that he had to bring out and purify himself and purify all the creations that came from himself. Because if he wasn't perfect, then his creations ain't perfect. And he can't perfect his creation until he perfect his self, the first creation, which is this vessel that he got. So this weakness impediment called devil was just the opposite expression of his positive, his stronger side. His stronger side, his right side is righteous, and then left side is called left or weak or wicked or whatever. So that's all that is. He's just leveling up his left hand with his right hand. So he had to allow, he had to build up his right side, his righteous side, so much that no matter what happens with the left, it won't never be able to destroy the righteousness. But once he built up the righteous side so much, then it's time to pull the righteous back and exercise the left, and let the left exercise so you can become righteously ambidextrous. You know what I'm saying? So you have two right hands. That's what even in Islam they say Allah got two hands, but they call them two right hands. Not because they both on the right side of his body, but they both do righteousness.
That's real.
That's real.
Give me another question right quick, man. Give me another question. My manager's here, so I know I got to get off in a second. But King Cashmore Science is a great ball. Okay, I'm just reading it. Gooch,
So
what up, Gooch? I see you.
So when the scripture speaks about the Lord of hosts coming back with 10,000 of 10,000 and all these things, what is that talking about?
Well, to bring it all the way, real deal, Holyfield, Master Fard Muhammad. Let me pull this up real quick to give you a visual aid. Master Fard Muhammad, for all that's watching on the right with the book in his hand, that's who we identify as the Son of Man or God in person. And Elijah Muhammad is his Mahdi or Messiah now. I mean Mahdi. And what was the question again? Because
When it's who is that Lord of hosts
right
coming back? Yeah, okay.
So that big wheel right there that we was talking about all show is what's called in the Bible the New Jerusalem, right? Or the the bride that was made or dressed for the bridegroom, or the city of God in the sky that's gonna come, it's gonna come down and bring a whole new civilization down to the earth or whatever. So on this wheel, this particular big mothership that's a half a mile by a half a mile, there's 1,500 little wheels, or what they call flying saucers, circular planes on it. And they have pilots. So if it's 1,500 planes, there's at least 1,500 people, at least on that wheel. And the people, the Bible say 10,000. So the people, it's people, just to tell you straight up, and let me just take this off the screen. There's people that's missing today that you think is dead, that got scooped up or got taken by Master Fard Muhammad before he departed. There's children that grew up just with him. There's thousands of people that, that's missing or that went missing or whatever that actually was raised by him. He took with him, right? So they're not ghosts. They're human beings. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many fall in the category of the 10,000. I know also the 10,000 represent us that's here on earth. I mean, that's here on the ground because we all from earth. But here that's on the ground, that are the saints or those that would suffer from the beast, and God empowered us and woke us up and armed us with the knowledge of ourselves and certain rods and staffs, meaning powers of over certain forces of nature and whatnot. And that's us on the ground. So that the 10,000 angels is from the descendants of slaves. So I don't know how many of them are with him on the wheel, and that's fulfilling that function, meaning they know who they are, as opposed to the rest that's here on the ground that we don't know. We might not know that we one of those people, but it's talking about human beings, descendants of slaves that are going to be the vanguard warriors of Armageddon.
I feel what you're saying. I'll let you go after this one, man. When it comes to that slave song, I don't know if the slaves came up with it or not. When it talks about swing down, sweet chariot, is that talking about the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. That's not in the Bible, but it's talking about the mother wheel. It's talking about Ezekiel's wheel. It's talking about the big mothership or the plane. I mean, the so-called UFO. The Bible is full of the Bible and the Quran is full of that topic, and we just, for whatever reason, ignore it, especially Christianity and Christians. I don't hear no Christians speaking on that subject. Just like I don't hear no Christians speaking on the judgment. They only speak on money and prosperity, and you can do whatever you want and say I believe in Jesus and you're gonna be forgiven. Like, just pure BS to me. They don't ever talk about the destruction side, the chapter Revelation chapter 8 all the way to Revelation chapter 11 and 12 and 13, like when they just doing mass deletions when God's 7 angels that attend the throne, God's angels, not Satan. So it says that they wiping out a third of the population, a third of the people on the planet. So if it's 8 billion people on the planet, 2, 4, 6, 25, 5, it's like 2.3 billion people they wiping out. And this is this is human beings that's destroying mass deleting 2.5 billion people on the planet, in one wop. So that's Jesus. That's the so-called Jesus that y'all say love everybody.
So let me say this real quick. I gotta say this, Cam. Forgive me, bro. So what does it mean when they say? I mean, I got an understanding of it, but when they say why do people love the devil? Because the devil gives them nothing. What's that mean? Totality.
Yeah, don't say that he loves the devil. It says likes the devil, right?
Okay.
And that's because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods, you know what I'm saying, and put fear in him when he was a little boy. And that's us. That's talking about us, in particular, the male descendants of slaves. We like the devil because the devil gives us nothing, and because they put fear in us when we was little, and they taught us to eat the wrong foods, and opposites attract. So if we terrorize and traumatize our whole life, if they go one day and don't terrorize us, then we like that. We might even love that. I love the fact that you didn't, terrorize me like you usually do. So now you gauge in life, you know what I'm saying, on I didn't get terrorized today, instead of, you know, I'm not ever supposed to get terrorized. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna wipe you out for even doing that to us. So it already sets your mind and your psyche on backpedal mode, like, you know, you in defense and survival mode instead of in victory or conquer mode.
Oh, so basically, like you like people who be like, "Oh man, this devil might be all right." You know, he all right.
Right.
Oh.
And that's why, because, you know, we think, you know, like a lamb is so stupid that they think that if they lay down and don't give the wolf no problems, he ain't gonna eat you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
man. It's
you know that works until you feel that them teeth on your neck.
facts. Yeah, that's real, man. That's definitely real. Yeah. I appreciate that, Cam, man. No doubt. It's been a good one, man. And always a pleasure of mine.
Yes, sir. Manager, would you like to take us on out of here?
Yes, but before I want to say, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so when we do a new upload or a new live, you'll always get notified.
Man, on that note, man, peace and love, my bro. Commit, you already know what it is with us. Thank you for the questions. Thank everybody for showing up and not 304 up. And those that did 304 up or hoe up, you know, we got wrenches. We got new wrenches every day. It's wrenching y'all up out of here. So peace and blessings, man. Thank y'all. And till tomorrow, God willing, we